Hey everybody, I'm Matt with NewSurvivalSkills.com, and going to show you my personal rig that I set up for myself. One of the things I think we want to get across here is when it comes to your hiking rig or your bug out kit or whatever, a lot of it has to do with personal preference. What's most comfortable for you, gives you freedom of movement, but you can still carry a lot of the gear you want to have with you to get you by in a bad situation. Basically, I have a Voodoo tactical vest. This is one of a plethora of varieties you can find in surplus stores and other gear stores. Got various items packed in here with me. I got a thigh rig on each side. What I like about these, it allows me to spread load the weight of my gear so it's not all in a backpack on my back digging into my shoulders. I did attach my Camelback, my Blackhawk Hydrodome system. What I actually did was zip tie it to the actual vest. I found that the weight that way isn't concentrated on my shoulders, as you can see there. I found before when I would wear the vest and then the Camelback system type over it, the weight still was concentrated on my shoulders and uncomfortable. So this is a big improvement I found for my own personal comfort. A lot of these things are all up to you. I'm just going to give you some ideas, some examples of things that you can do with this kind of gear. It's all modular. Go ahead and show you some things I've got on me while I'm wearing it. I'm going to start from the top and work my way down. First pocket over here, which is, this stuff looks like G.I. Joe gear. People might look at you funny like, oh, what do you think you are? Well, it turns out the military style gear also works good for just carrying all kinds of stuff. First chest pocket up here, got a notepad so I can take some notes. If I find something, I want to write down the time that I experienced something or something I saw or something where I was. If I have to perform first aid, I want to write down what time certain treatments are given. A lot of that stuff is good to know when you get somebody to better medical attention. Got an old wallet here. And what I've got inside the wallet are some handy little things. One of them is one of these here wire saws. I'd prefer one of those chainsaw type systems that does this, that works the same way, but if this is what you got, better than having nothing, right? Some other pieces. I got a magnifying card here. Good for seeing details of a map larger or some fine print if you have to read instructions on something. You could obviously use it for that attempt to start a fire with the sun. I already got a crack in it, but I found it still works. Excuse me. But I keep that in the sleeve to keep it from getting too much more screwed up here. Okay, you know what? For right now, I'm just gonna put it away. And hey, I dropped my saw. Pick that up in a second too. Then one more thing I've got is I found this little metal bottle opener. Never know when something like that could come in handy, whether it's to use as an actual bottle opener or maybe some little extra tool to give you some ability to dig into some soft dirt. I don't know. But again, any little thing you can find to use to make life a little easier in a bad situation, let's do it. Put this back in the wallet. Also, keeping this in the wallet keeps this from tearing up any of your other gear. That's kind of why I chose the wallet to put it in. And then the last thing I have in this pocket here was the just an emergency whistle in case you're trying to self-rescue or you know that someone might be looking for you and you want to help them find you faster. You're trapped in an area. You can hear your rescuers nearby. It's orange, so if you should drop it, which I've got mine dummy corded on a lanyard, but it's orange so that if you were to drop it, you could find it hopefully pretty easily in an outdoor environment. It's got a built-in clip so I could clip it onto gear like the edge of my pocket if I wanted to. But it's pretty loud. I'll give you a quick demonstration. Someone looking for me would probably know that that's not just a bird. Also with the lanyard, I included a lot of extra cord. Extra cordage is always good. And if you can have it in such a way that it serves more than one purpose, all the better. It's one of my next pockets.
Another reason why you want to use the whistle is in a survival situation, if you are trapped and you're trying to be rescued and you hear people coming from a distance or you don't hear anybody coming, it's easier for you to exhale and blow on a whistle than it is for you to yell.
Shout.
And if you're yelling continuously, you're going to lose your voice. So you should always have a whistle.
Another key thing I keep with me usually is radios. Chappie and I keep a couple of these with us so that we can communicate with each other if we should get separated. That way if one of us winds up in a bad spot and can't get out of, we can call for the other one to come give us a hand. GPS system always comes in handy. Find out where you are, where you ought to be, where you came from. Record where you are if you want to show someone else how to get to where you've been. Again, you might be hiking and find someone else who's stranded and maybe they're trapped under a rock. You can log your location, and then as soon as you can find help, you can tell them exactly how to reach that person. A couple of bandanas. Again, the great thing about magazine pouches, you can use them for so many other things. A couple of folded up bandanas. I got one green, one red. I actually need to get a white one as well. They work as good water filters. If you've got ashy stuff in water or just dirty water, you want to filter it out. It's a good initial filter. Quick way to cover your head from the sun. Just, any kind of reasons you can use for a bandana. Also, one thing we found is that you can actually tie a couple of cloths around to your ankles and walk through dewy grass if you want to collect water. We'll probably do a demonstration on that in the future.
Another thing you can do with the bandana is when you're in a survival situation, if you happen to have a large bucket or you have something else and you're carrying it over rough terrain, you can use the bandana. You can roll it up like if you were going to flick somebody in the butt with it, tie it in a knot, and then wrap it around your wrist and have it attached to the handle of your bucket or whatever you're using for carrying water. And then that way it makes it easier to sling the load, and it keeps the center of gravity on the water so that it doesn't slosh around and you don't wind up losing as much water from carrying.
We'll probably go back and shoot some better the actual demonstration of a couple of these methods pretty quickly here. Moving over to this side, I've got some bug repellent. It's the 100% DEET. But any bug repellent you got that might keep a couple bugs off you, it's always a good idea. I got a little hand sanitizer if I'm going to wind up eating something or helping someone with some first aid. I want my hands to be clean.
It's also flammable.
Also flammable, good for fire starting. I think I've got a little bit more of that down in my fire starting gear once I get to. Got a pace counter, which can also clip onto my vest so I don't lose it. We can demonstrate this technique a little bit later too. I'll move down to this pouch here. Got a pair of small scissors. These are good for cutting clothing if you need to help somebody out, maybe get to an injured spot. With a lot of these things. Got a little bit of first aid gear. I like to keep several different knives and whatnot handy. Never know, if you use one too much it might go dull, or one knife might be too big for a job or too small. So you'll find that I keep several different knives scattered around my gear. A little bit of first aid stuff. This is just real basic, simple stuff. I've got some Aleve painkillers in a plastic bag, some waterproof band-aids, a couple different types, just for minor scrapes and cuts, and then some moleskin, which on my most recent hike I forgot to bring with me, and at the end of the hike, well, at one end of the hike, which was intended to be a round trip, I wound up calling for a ride home. My foot was done. But moleskin, now I have it. I will never be without it. Then I've got this magazine pouch. I've got my Gerber multi-tool. Most of you are going to be familiar with what these are. And I made myself a curlicued lanyard to keep so I don't drop it, because one of my pieces of gear that I really don't want to lose. So handy deal. I can actually demonstrate sometime how to make these, or I can show you where you can buy something that's maybe a little bit nicer. Next thing I've got is going to be, I've got a fire starting kit in this pouch. Some of the real basics. I've got a piece of Chappie's BioFire. Got some dry cotton balls that can be fluffed out and catch a spark real easily. Some dry burlap. Waterproof matches. A little bit of a pre-ground up magnesium to help fire get going fast. Burns really hot.